Greetings fam. Welcome again to Community Renewal fam. Butisa nakunona nabesithunywa. Butisa nakunona nabukhanyo. Situkhanyo malibenathi banda kwethu. Today's video fam is basically gonna be based on excuse me. Let me shut this volume up. Right. Sorry about that fam. Today's video fam is basically gonna be based on spirituality, consciousness, and philosophy. You know, the reason I'm bringing philosophy up into this because of my personal life path. Do you understand? Because a lot of people, sorry, all this thing of knowledge and everything, they don't actually understand what it's all about and where it all comes from. Do you understand? Funeke sikhumbule banda kwethu into yokubana uqiqa nokuqonda okwethu ingqondo zokuqala yayisithi kwanhlandlolo, ingqondo zokuqala yayisithi kwanhliksi. Funeke sibuye sikhumbule banda kwethu into yokubana ke ngoku xa sithetha ngespirituality, njengobana ndihlale ndisitsho into yokubana ukuqiqa nokuqonda nolwazi ndizama ukwabelana nani kweli khasi ayilolwazi lwam lwenyama, ayilolwazi endinalo ngokubana mhlawumbi umntu sithofunda incwadi ezithile nezithile. Andihali into yokufunda kwencwadi ezithile, ba asifundi nencwadi into siyenzayo kubhala uxolo nje ubona uxhefile kanti lakho lapha phambi kwam nje. So into ndizama ukufuna niqonde namhlanje bantu into yokubana yonke le nto lena yomoya iyinxalenye nayo into yobungqondi. So ivideo yanamhlanje igxile kuloo nto ke ngokwanda kwethu. So what I want you all to understand fam is when we're talking of philosophy, do you understand? When you're talking of consciousness, we can't talk of consciousness and things in philosophy without talking about spirituality. And I know, especially these brothers from the state, you see, you all need to understand, fam, that as much as you all have knowledge and kind of like well informed about these things, do you understand? But you all need to understand, fam, that this is not just something that you just have by getting it from some certain books or watching certain documentaries and all those kind of things. Do you understand? I respect you all for that kind of knowledge, fam. I really respect you all, you know. But you all need to understand, fam, that there is spirituality in all this thing. This is not just something that's happening randomly. So at a certain point, I feel the need to humble you all, fam, because you all need to understand that as much as you are kind of like more exposed, or you were kind of like exposed into this, especially those brothers from New York. Do you understand? I understand that your fam were kind of like more exposed into these things than us, the natives here in South Africa, for instance. Do you understand? But you all shouldn't kind of like tend to think when you talk of spirituality, we are being spooky, we are being religious, we are being cultural and all those kind of things. You all should understand that this thing comes from spirituality. Before you can reach higher state of consciousness, you have to first live and operate as a spiritual being. That's why we have the cart, the bar, and the car in our spiritual science. You all understand? So we need to understand, fam, that you can't operate as a physical, with the physical brain. You can't use the brain. Do you understand? To comprehend things of consciousness, because consciousness deals with the mind. And for you, in order for you to connect with the mind, you must first connect with the spiritual being, which is what we call the divine self. Do you understand? So you need to understand, fam, that as much as you all get this knowledge from reading books and everything, which is something that we recommend, we need literature. We must practice more and more and more of literature. You understand? We must teach our youth to read and write, because this is the ability that the West have subconsciously programmed at, and have subconsciously kind of like erased from the people. Do you understand? That's why now when we're coming out like this, talking of writing books, and philosophy and consciousness and everything, it's like, yo, look at this Negro crazy. Do you understand? Because you all been subconsciously programmed to think that everything of greatness comes from the West. That's why, for instance, this thing of Greek philosophy. What is Greek philosophy? Have you ever kind of like thought about these kind of things? What is Greek philosophy? There's no such thing as Greek philosophy. That's kind of like a misnomer, because we need to understand, fam, that even the Greeks, everything they thought, the Pythagoras theorem, um, the four elements. Do you understand? Um, the cosmology. Okay, just to be exact, actually, like um, Democritus, Socrates, and Pythagoras, um, they kind of like they thought nothing new. All these Greek philosophers thought nothing new. Do you understand? Everything they thought is everything they got from our ancient ancestors from Kemet, which is where we get all this thing from. Because we need to understand, fam, that spiritually, spirit is the only thing that connects us. Do you understand? So spirituality is potent, fam, because some of us are possessing this knowledge because of spirituality, because we tapped into our ancient pre-remembrance. We tapped into the spiritual realms. I know, fam, ndiyayazi nakuni bantwana besithuba into yokubana ulwazi selulwazi oluselutsha in a way, nangona ngokomoya ungelutshanga. So njengoba sikhula emoyeni sizoziqonda ngoziqonda ezinye izinto endizithethayo kweli khasi, but funeke si-understande amasoba abantwana besithuba into yokubana sikwi-levels ngee-levels ze-consciousness. Do you understand? So njengoba ndihlale ndisitsho into yokubana ezinye izinto xa ndizithetha ndizozithetha in a universal level. You understand? So we need to understand, fam, when we're talking of philosophy, do you understand? We need to understand that the Greeks, they came to Africa as students and scholars. Do you understand? And they were taught everything they seem to be talking about in their books and writing about is everything that they fabricated from our ancient mysteries. Do you understand? And during the era of Alexander, Alexander the invader, when he came and invaded our ancient lands, you understand, he took the he abolished the the temples of philosophy, which is what we know as universities today. Do you understand? Because he tries to make sure that he erased all the ancient culture and philosophy of the ancient world. Do you understand? That's why today, for instance, we praise them as the writers and authors and thinkers of the ancient philosophy, of which that is not correct. Do you understand? So we need to understand, fam, that this thing comes from the divine. This is all works of the divine. Do you understand? But if we are not connected to the divine, you can't have the divine knowledge and wisdom. This is not something you can only get from books. Books can only help you understand what you already got. Books can't make you enlightened. Books can make you wise. For instance, books will make you smart and intelligent. You understand? But we need to understand, fam, that this kind of intelligence is the divine intelligence. That's why we have Jehudi. It's the wisdom of Jehudi. But what is Jehudi? Jehudi is the principle. The third principle. Do Do you understand? So we need to understand, fam, that these are all faculties, as I said to my previous video on the principles of nature, trying to decode and decipher all these things for you all. You understand? Of which, as I said, that I'm still gonna go deeper into these things into terms of teaching, because for now this is all kind of like introduction. I haven't even begun yet, fam, but we just have to set a good foundation so that when we start teaching the actual teachings, the minds will be kind of like prepared for it. Awukwazi uba uvele utshale emhlabeni, funeka uqale ulungise umhlaba wakho, uqiniseke into yokubana utyebile, uqiniseke into yokubana unezondlo ezaneleyo phambi kokubana ube ungatyala, so that imbewu yakho xa uyityala uyibone nayo xa ikhula. Nasengqondweni ke it's the same thing nasemoyeni. So we need to understand, fam, that we are still kind of like trying to take your minds out of the programming of the system. We are still kind of like trying to disconnect you all from the world of matrix. You'll need to understand ukubana sisaza ngumqhuqaqhuqa ingqondo qala ngokuqiqa nokuqonda khona ukuze nikwazi into yokubana ke ngoku ulwazi niliqonde nilubone nangeliso lomoya, ngoba njengobana ndihlale ndisitsho into yokubana elo lwazi lenyama or elo lwazi lokubana mhlawumbi ukuhamba ngumbona obuya zinkoduso, ayilolwazi lwenyama. Amakhusha phantsi. Yabona bantakwethu, singabantu kubalulekile into yokubana sihloniphe into zomoya. Kubalulekile bona singabantu sibuyele embo. Kunintsi, ingakumbi sisizukulwana sisiso sanamhlanje, kunintsi bantakwethu okufuneka siqiqile siqondile ngokuthina. Zinintsi izinto ezizivuselelekayo ngokunokwazo ebezilele phakathi nakuthi. There are a lot of things, my souls, that kind of like into our DNA. There are a lot of things that are vibrating now into our DNA. Do you understand? And now, because there is no enlightenment, because there is no right guidance in spirituality, you understand? A lot of people are losing their talents. A lot of people are losing their gifts. A lot of people are suppressing who they are, subjugating who they are, because when it comes to African spirituality, the only thing that we know about African spirituality is uktwasa, and now, once even I was also told at a certain point that I've got intsimbi emhlophe, kuthiwa nentsimbi emhlophe kufuneka ndithwasile, and some people bandixelela into yokubana funeke certain things can't be talked like this, fam. But what I'm trying to say is, fam, African spirituality is not just about uktwasa, fam. There's certain things, fam, that are vibrating, because we need to understand, fam, that the path of spirituality, according to our ancient understanding, and ancient knowledge of spirituality, and science, the essence of spirituality, fam, is actually kind of like manifesting in kind of like developing, and becoming who you are, who you truly are. Do you understand? So we need to understand, fam, that spirituality connects us with the divine. Sorry, with the ancients, with our ancient spirit remembrance, which is our ancestors, you understand, which is our ancestors are living and well. We shouldn't think of spirituality with the Western perspective. We should stop having European concepts on our African spirituality, because a lot of people, as conscious as they think they are, but still, when you kind of like check, and sorry, So when you kind of like check their state of consciousness, you'll see that a lot of people are not really as conscious or as awake or as woke. Yeah, they are not sorry about that, fam. They are not actually kind of like as woke, and as conscious as actually kind of like to proclaim to be, because as I said to my post, I posted early this morning, it was around 1 o'clock. I was meditating outside, and it just came to me that a lot of people are well informed, a lot of people have knowledge, and they can present this knowledge very well and very articulate, but just because you can talk about something, or just because you have some information about something, actually called, I wouldn't say knowledge, because umazi wayo umhambi wayo, nditsho ke mna-ke ndingumXhosa, sitsho ke thina-ke singamaXhosa, sitsho ke sona-ke isiXhosa. So ezinye izinto funeke siziqonde bantakwethu into yokubana it's not just information. Ezinye izinto funeka uyihambe, ngoba you can't be connected, you can't know something that you are not connected to. You understand? So today's video, fam, is about spirituality, consciousness, and philosophy for a reason. And as I said, that I'm using philosophy because of my personal life path. Otherwise, there are other aspects of spirituality I'll be talking about. You understand? If I was a healer, I would say in healing. If I was a seer, I would say in seeing, So I like to relate to my own path, so that I talk about something that I know personally and in my personal ground, because this is not a hearsay, you see. So we need to understand, fam, that spirituality is what connects you to what you are, to what you truly are. Do you understand? And as I said earlier, please, brothers and sisters, those that are at the state, please try to truly seek who you are. Seek knowledge, seek real self-knowledge. Do you understand? This thing of having clan names and all those kind of things, fam, it's not just a coincidence. Those things are potent, fam. Ancestors are potent. Don't just talk of ancestors. You all need to connect, because as you all already know, fam, that we are in the middle of spiritual warfare. You understand? So you all need to pay attention to these things, fam. Information and knowledge alone is not enough. You all need to connect to your roots. You all need to make sure you are connected to Africanicity. Because being African, being Kemite, not just a matter of it's not just a matter of setting costumes, ornaments, and everything. Because these are not just costumes. You see, these are not just ornaments. It's not just an ornament. All these things are sacred, fam. You understand? These are not things that you can just claim. You see, these are not things that you can just these are not things that you just do because you've seen. This, for instance, this is my sacred stuff. This sacred stuff, it holds energy, frequency, and certain vibration. Do you understand? It has a sacred meaning to I. It's my path. Those that can read symbolism, can see, can read. Once you know this stuff, you already know me. You already know I. You already know what I'm about, what my purpose. Just by seeing my stuff. When you know, you know. Do you understand? But as I said, fam, that we are kind of like still bringing back all these things, fam, because we need to understand, fam, that njengabantwana besintu, njengabantu, nintsi udlala sinabo nezinto ze-ancient Kemet. That's why ndisho into yokubana funeke siyiqiqa le nto i-ancient Kemet. Ndingacingi uba fam into yokubana ndizodlisela mhlawumbi ngolwazi njile kuAfrika buthile. Ndithetha ngento ephilayo apha kuthi phakathi nakwethu. Ndithetha ngento bantakwethu, ndithetha bantakwethu ngento ephilayo apha kum. Andithethi ngento mhlawumbi kuthiwa funeke ndifunde iincwadi ezithile ukuze ndibe bantakwethu iphila le nto. So funeke sibuye sikhumbule bantakwethu ukubana kusekunintsi esisazama ukubuyisa, and ndiyayiqonda into yokubana banintsi ke abanolwazi lomhlaba, alwencwadi, bacinga bafana uba mhlawumbi bangama phambi kwethu olu khanyo siza nalo. Kodwa ke bantakwethu, ndithweswe ngumoya bantakwethu wengonyama, umoya wee-warriors, umoya wengqondi. So xa ngabana bakhona ke izifundiswa nawo baqonda into yokubana banqwenela ukuhlisana nam, benyusane nam, ze niyazi into yokubana bantakwethu andinoyibalekela loo nto leyo. Kodwa andikho ngaloo nto, ngoba ikhona impazamo abanayo nyhani aba bantu bazibona ngathi bazizifundiswa. There's difference between education and enlightenment. That's why now, fam, we have to come out. There's no time to talk on the corners now, fam. Xesha lokubana benincina kwamantwina aliphelile xesha elo. If uyathetha funeka uthethe kuvakala uba uthini, because we need to understand, fam, that this is revolution. If we don't stand up, if you don't come out and stand up for this revolution, it won't manifest. We are trying to bridge a generational gap here, fam, because there's this generation that was asleep. These things were there, but they never applied them. I shouldn't be out here, fam, doing all these things, fam, if it wasn't because of this generational gap. I was supposed to be having fun, you know. Just tripping, fam. There's nothing greater than this, fam. There's nothing better than this for I, fam, you know. I would be forever be grateful for this, fam. And bantwana besithunywa cela nibe nemibulelo ngokubana iphile ngexesha legogo. Nam ndinemibulelo ngegogo. That's why ndisitsho into yokubana igogo ngoba you see, fam, TRSH, fam, kum personally, like TRSH ingqina indlela yam endiyihambileyo mna. That's why when it comes to i-TRSH andikwazi into yokubana igogo ndingalikhankanyi kwizinto zomoya, kwizinto ezifana nezi, because what igogo is bringing our fam is something that our elders need. Because for instance, if it wasn't for a TRSH, for instance, even though my parents don't yet understand my path, you know, and my purpose, but because of TRSH, at least now there is some light that is shining upon them. There is some insight. They're starting to understand certain things and certain aspects about I and my personal path and my journey. Do you understand? So I give thanks for Isambulo, you know, and to all youth. So we need to understand, fam, that spirituality, fam, and consciousness I wouldn't actually say they are two different things, but they are kind of like how do I put it? They are intertwined in a way, you understand? Because before you can reach higher levels of consciousness, before you can reach can connect with the divine cosmos, with the divine frequencies. Do you understand? Before you can tune with the ancestral realms, do you understand? And start having those gifts, because you need to understand gifts and talents, passions, um, sacred knowledge, all those kind of things. They all come from the spirit. They all come from the divine. But before you can tap into that, you first need to tap into your spiritual being. Remember, human being, unlike animals, we are dual in nature. We have our animal nature and our divine nature. You understand? Yonke ngokulowo nto kwantu sinamasiko ngamasiko esinawo. La masiko sinawo ngamasiko sasinawo kube sasiyazi into yokubana esigabeni esithile sobomi ukhona apha kufuneka into yokubana umntu asuke kule animal nature aye phi kwi-spiritual nature. That's why ke ngoku umzekelo thina singamanguni kwaXhosa sizothi sifuzisele inkwenkwe nenja, ayingokubana indelelo leya, no. Qha le nto ndikhe ndayithetha ke ngaphambili into yokubana ezinye izinto siyazenza kodwa ngoku sizenza ungaqondi, ungabi nakhanyo, ungabi nayo umoya wezi zinto. Sizenza nje ngokungathi kuqhutywa isiko kodwa zizinto ezinzulu ezi. Ngoku ke ngoku when we're talking about when we're talking about consciousness is like the divine. Divine is consciousness. You understand? Mfihlakalo. Because consciousness exists alone. Consciousness is not permitted by time and space. It exists outside of it. But it is the one that permits it. Because time, we need to understand that time is not linear. Time is circular. Because time is the separation of events that the consciousness experience. Do you understand? So when we're talking spirituality as Africans, we are not being religious. When we're talking about spirituality, we understand what you're talking about deep down within our own selves. Do you understand? We are not just being religious. We are not just being traditional or cultural and all those kind of sort of things. We are not being superstitious. This is reality of life. Where do you think science comes from? Science comes from spirituality. Never mind that now you don't talk about pseudoscience, the science of destruction. I'm talking about real science. This is the true spiritual science. Science comes from this. That's where even the essence of an atom comes from. The scientific atoms, they got that from us. Do you understand? So we need to understand, fam, that with all this African revival, there are certain things that are manifesting themselves. And you need to understand, fam, that things of nature won't manifest via the AI. They will manifest via natural beings. So you'll need to understand, fam, that this is the reality. I'm not just out here because I like to talk a lot. I'm not just out here, fam, because I like attention, because I like fame, because of all those kind of things, your low vibration frequency mentality thing. You understand? Because you all need to comprehend, fam, that this is all part of warfare. We are all in the middle of warfare. If you're not aware of the fact that we're in the middle of warfare, you've already lost the first battle. You're the one that need to be super focused. Ezinye izinto amasotsha ndiyaqonda into yokubana nyhani ke kuni like kubanye nabanye abantu khane zisenzeka, kodwa funeka bekhumbule abantu akwethu into yokubana andithethi ekhaya because ndiyalidelela okanye ndiyaliphaphela okanye ndiyaliqamba. You understand? Khulele phaa ekhayeni. Zinintsi abantu akwethu izinto ezindibangela into yokubana ndibe ndiyalikhankanya ikhaya lomoya. iintetha zam. Andiyenzi loo nto leyo kuba mhlawumbi ndizama ukuzifaka okanye ndizama andiyazi uba ndibeke ngawaphi amazwi uba into yobana nive ngcono nentetha yam. Kodwa endazama uyitsho into yokubana ndinayo isizathu sokubana ndibe ndayenza into endiyenzayo. Kodwa ke kancinci kancinci ezinye izinto zizokhanyiseleka kancinci kancinci, sixakwe into yokubana kwenzeka ntoni. Kodwa ke kwabo baxhumeneyo ngokomoya yonke le nto iyacaca yogaluka. Ngoba funeke sibuye sikhumbule into yokubana i-spirituality kulapho sibaluleka khona ke ngoku, ngoba if spiritually you are not connected uzocinga uba fanuba ngengqondo yomhlaba uyayiva le nto. Ingqondo izozula ingqondo ibuye ilibala nto leyo, because it's not just about ingqondo. Khona phofu ingqondo, khona phofu ubuchopho. So funeke sibuye sikhumbule abantu akwethu into yokubana kubalulekile into yokubana xhumane nyhani khona ukuze izambulo uzokwazi into yokubana sikwambulele ngobuwena. This has to do with you and your personal ground. Zinintsi izinto njengoba igogo lakudala lisitsho into yokubana zinintsi izinto ezileleyo kuthi esazovuka in some past years. Kodwa ndikhumbula igogo linentetho ezinjalo. Ndiyakhumbula igogo lixela ngesipili. Bendiba ndizoba nesipili apha, andinasipili. Kodwa ndiyakhumbula igogo lixela ngesipili. Andiyazi noba sasiphambi kokubana siye eNcome noba sasibuya eNcome na, kodwa ndiyakhumbula igogo lixela ngesipili. Reflection. Bantakwethu oh masosha. So there's a lot, fam. There's a lot, but as I said to my previous video, that I'm gonna try to make my videos short now so that I can keep the content, so that I can not confuse those that are still new and everything, you know. So spirituality and consciousness are intertwined, fam, because as I said that you need to tap into your spirit, into your spiritual being before you can tap into the divine consciousness. Do you understand? Meaning you must ascend from your animal nature to your spiritual nature, which is the essence of Set and Hero. The battle of Set and Hero. Do you understand? So when we're practicing these traditions like isiko lokwaluka, for instance, intonjane, for instance, we're not just practicing these things because of its culture. Yes, it is culture, because let's say it's not practiced by everyone, but the Bantu, most of the Bantu nations, they know what I'm talking about. You understand? It's just that maybe the enlightenment and the spiritual essence of it has been lost due to the influences, because most of our elders, as I said, that the generational gap when it comes to spirituality and enlightenment, the generational gap, the era of dark ages. Do you understand? So when we're talking of spirituality, we need to understand, fam, that before you can tap into these higher realms, into the divine consciousness, you need to first tap within your own spiritual self. Do you understand? That's why I say a lot of people, and fam, one other thing we need to understand, fam, ingakumbi kuthi thina bantu, makhe ndithethe nabo bakusekhaya, nangona ke ngokomoya sonke singabasekhaya, kodwa ke ndifuna uze ebantwini. You see, ingakumbi kuthi silulutsha, thina bantu ke sine-access kuzo zonke izinto, lamakhasi onxibelelwano, you know, internet and so forth. Funeka sibuye siqonde into yokubana bakhona abantu, okay, ndithetha ngesiNtu, zikhona izinto ezingathi ngabantu eziphilayo. and ezi zinto zingathi ngabantu ziphilayo zinolwazi oluthile, ufumanise into ulwazi lomhlaba oluthile, ufumanise into yobana ngelinye ixesha uthi xa bamamele ufumanise kube ngathi mhlawumbi ikhona ulwazi abanalo, kanti nolu ulwazi nje lomhlaba olubanalo. Rayi. Kodwa wena njengomntu unomoya, ungumntu womoya. So iintetha ze-spirituality, indlela ezibaluleke kuyo ngayo kuwe ingangafani nendlela ebaluleke kuyo kubo. So the way we take spirituality should differ. Indlela sithatha ngayo thina into zomoya masacinga uba fana uba mhlawumbi izokuaphruva i-West. I-West ayizuvele ithi iyayamkela indlela esiyenza ngayo izinto. Masingacinga uba fama mhlawumbi abasemzini ngabo ngoku kufuneka into yobana bathi basinike igunya lokubana hayi philani ngehlobo leni fama niphila ngalo, niphila ngalo kakade kwamandulo. No. Why you all think they had to twist things and fabricate religion the way they did it, if that was the case? Because bazama usihlukanisa nokuthina ngoba they know into abayilwayo i-spiritual isemoyeni le mpi le ngaphezu koba isenyameni. Into abayilwayo ngathi le nto yobana bayazi nobana singabantu bomoya, sinalo ixhumano, sinako ukuxhumana nomfihlakalo ngokuthini, ngokwe-spirituality. Yiyo ke ngoku loo nto ndisithi kuzo zonke ezi studies zikhoyo phaa ngaphandle, funeka sizijongile hluze sizokwazi ubana siziqiqa siziqonde thina ubuthina, ngoba zonke into esiwa kwalapha kuthi. So kuthi it's more like a revision, remembrance, ancient remembrance. Okay, okay, kodwa hluzo, ngoba indlela intsingiselo yazo kubo ayifani intsingiselo yazo kuwe njengomntu. Ngoku thina bantu sithi kufuneka ehloniphe i-spirituality. We as the black people, we as the native people, we are the ones that have to respect spirituality. Because for instance, we are all fighting for Africa to unite. But how can we unite? With unity. Which mechanism are we going to use to accomplish that unity? Spirituality, because spirituality is the only thing that can unite us. It's the only true thing that unites us. That's why with ancient Kemet renewal, I'm trying to kind of like bring back, you understand, all this ancient knowledge and understanding. Do you understand? As it's Embo, we need to understand that we are trying to go back to the times whereby the state of consciousness we're in was one, whereby now we were all kind of like one nation. Because we need to remember, fam, it was the Europeans that told us that we are different, that we are tribes, that we are different nations. We need to understand that it wasn't I and I that said, no, you are you, you are you, I am I. Do you understand? We all knew that we are one. That's why now when we're using all this ancient knowledge, we're trying to trace back and see, help you all see how we are related, how we are connected as Africans. Because that's the only way we can fight this thing of xenophobia. Foreigners. How can an African be a foreigner in Africa? That's just stupidity and foolishness and ignorance. It's ignorance in a deeper level. How am I going to go to Ghana and I'm called a foreigner? How is a Ghanaian a foreigner in South Africa? And I'm not being ignorant of anything here, fam, but I'm trying to go back to the essence of Africanicity, because we need to understand, fam, that this thing of us fighting each other is all working for the system. It's all working for the enemy, because it's divide and conquer. Fam, we need to understand, fam, that this generation of ours, we're not fools. We might be young. You can't use the same method you use to our ancestors to us. That's why I'm ready to deal with AI. I will keep on saying this thing, because they know that we are spiritually advanced as this generation. They know that we are the generation of open chakras. They know that our ancestors are working through us. They know that ancients are working through us. They know that nature is working through us. They know that the divine is working through us. That's why they're making sure that they have to destroy us with all these drugs, with all this technology, the way they're coming with it. We need to understand as youth that this warfare is directed to us. That's why I say, I give thanks with the light that our leaders, even though they are leading in terms of politics and everything, but our African leaders, the way now they slowly but surely waking up in terms of not kind of like having to bow down to the West, not kind of like having to compromise for the West, because we need to stand up for ourselves. Because the more Africa unite and have respect of our own spirituality, and have respect of our own self-knowledge, and have respect of who we truly are. Once we respect ourselves as Africans, all the other nations respect us automatically. Because deep down, these nations, they do respect us as Africans. But they take us as fools who don't know who they truly are. How am I going to be a king and yet I am ruled? We need to understand, fam, that this thing of white supremacy is something that's real. Do you understand? Supremacy is real, but now we're breaking that supremacy. No nation will be superior than Africa to Africa, because there's no nation superior to Africa. Africa is the motherland. Africa is the womb of the nations. So how are you all gonna come now and say you are superior to your mother? There's no such thing. So that's why I'm saying to our African leaders, big up elders. It is time that now Africa rise. Because if your elders don't do what you're supposed to be doing, you're gonna start feeling like us as your grandchildren. We are fighting you, whereas we are not fighting you. We're actually trying to do what you're supposed to be doing. So we as Africans, we need to respect our spirituality. I'm talking too much about spirituality that those are just shutting there. One. You see, so we need to understand, fam, that this is spiritual warfare. And this spiritual warfare is directed to us as youth. Spirituality is leading. Spirituality is leading. And before I close this video, fam, to all those who are kind of like still fighting the youths for seeking the truths, no, stop fighting the youths. We are out now. Those that are the masters and teachers are out now. It's about time that now we actually go head to head if we have to and discuss these things and stop thinking this is just a certain mentality. No. Njengoba sendishilo into yokubana izithunywa labaphansi zisebenza ngathi. Azisebenza ngezinja, izinja zikwazi uthetha. Ziyasebenza ngokwemveli. Look, if you yakwazi ukujonga imveli, if you can comprehend and observe nature, you will see that nature has transformed. Nature is transforming. Mother Nature herself is waking up. So why don't you think you as human, there should be something that's happening also? So this is not a joke, fam. This is not a joke. The world, fam. Oh. The world, as you know, fam, is changing. Things are not going to stay the same. Things will not remain the same. Things are changing. Africa, wake up. Africa, respect your spirituality. Africa, know your spirituality. Youths, I give thanks, fam. I give thanks, fam. May our ancients, may the spirit of revolution remain stronger and stronger and grow strong every day. May the spirit of power and the fire of power burn within you all. Kuni bantwana besikhunywa, khanye bantakwethu malibe nathi. Masiqiqeni siqonde. Ixesha lifikile ngoku bantakwethu.